Your weekend bag is by the door. The phone is at your ear. You tell your mother you won't be there for the holiday because you already made plans. Then you hear it. I guess I'll just spend it alone. And just like that, your chest tightens. Your mind builds a case against you. Bad son. Ungrateful. Selfish. 10 seconds ago, you were a grown man making a reasonable choice. Now you're on trial. So you cave. Again. You change your plans, betray your own word, and call it keeping the peace. But that isn't peace. That's pressure. And if this keeps happening, you can start to confuse guilt with love. So why is this so hard for men? Because guilt tripping rarely looks like control. It comes dressed up as care, duty, family, and loyalty. It's emotional manipulation with a soft voice. A lot of men get hooked in 3 ways. First, the duty trap. You were taught to carry weight and not let people down. That's a good instinct. It turns bad when someone learns they can steer you by making you feel responsible for their discomfort. Second, the protector identity. If your mother is upset, your partner goes cold, or your friend acts wounded, you feel pressure to fix the room. Fast. Third, the fear of being called selfish. That word hits a lot of men like a hammer. So you start doing crooked math. Maybe I should just do it. Maybe I owe them. Maybe this isn't worth the fight. Mark is 42. His mother turns every boundary into a speech about family and loyalty. He doesn't say yes because he wants to. He says yes because he can't stand feeling like the villain. Ethan is 29. He asks his partner for one night to himself. She says, "Fine, do whatever you want." He hears the words. He also hears the threat under them. Choose yourself, and you'll pay for it later. Sound familiar? Here's what most men don't realize. Guilt tripping hijacks your conscience. It takes empathy, which is a strength, and turns it into a leash. And when you keep surrendering to it, you don't become more loving. You become more resentful. You say yes with your mouth and no with your body. Tight jaw, shallow breathing, that low burn of irritation you can't explain. That's what happens when your outer life keeps violating your inner truth. Then your self-respect starts leaking out. Every time you give in just to stop the discomfort, you teach yourself that your no can't be trusted. And if you don't trust your no, you won't trust your yes either. Your relationships suffer too. Unclear men don't create closeness. They create confusion. You look compliant on the surface, but resentment builds like pressure in a cracked pipe. Sooner or later, it bursts. There's a practical cost too. Lost time, drained energy, blown plans, decisions made from pressure instead of principle. If you reward guilt tripping long enough, you teach people the exact code that gets past your perimeter. All right, here's the approach that actually works. I call it the guilt filter response. First, name the play. A guilt trip usually has 5 moves. You say no, hesitate, or choose something else. Then comes the sacrifice reminder. After all I've done for you. Then the role hook. Bad son, selfish partner, ungrateful friend. Then the victim line. I guess I'll be alone. Or, I can't believe you do this to me. And then the pressure to fix it, now. The discomfort only stops if you give in. Once you label the tactic, you stop mistaking pressure for truth. So you stay calm and say, I can hear that you're disappointed. I'm willing to talk about it, but I'm not changing my answer out of guilt. They may deny it. I'm not guilting you. I'm just telling you how I feel. Fine. You stay steady. You're allowed to feel how you feel. My answer is still the same. Second, run the filter. Not all guilt is fake. Sometimes you did miss the mark. So ask yourself 3 questions. Did I actually do something wrong, or did I just disappoint someone? Is this request reasonable, or does it ask me to betray my time, my priorities, or my peace? And would this person respect my no if they weren't getting their way? That helps you separate genuine hurt from manufactured guilt. Genuine hurt says, I was really hoping you'd be there. Can we find another time? Manufactured guilt says, wow, I guess now I know where I rank. Genuine hurt names a feeling. Manufactured guilt assigns you a debt. If you've done something wrong, own it. If you've simply made a different choice, don't confess to a crime you didn't commit. Say, I understand this isn't what you wanted. That doesn't mean I'm doing something wrong. And if they keep pushing, you don't have to agree with me. I'm still making this choice. Third, answer clearly. No over-explaining, no fake apology. A clean boundary has 3 parts. You acknowledge, you answer. Then, if you want, you offer an alternative. So you say, I know you wanted me there. I'm not available Thursday. I can come by Saturday afternoon. Or, I appreciate you asking. I'm not able to help this weekend. Or with a partner, if you want something different, say it directly. Fine, do whatever you want. Doesn't work for me. That's it. No apology tour. No courtroom defense. Over-explaining invites debate. Fake apologies tell the other person you're guilty when you're not. And when sarcasm, sulking, or another round of pressure shows up, don't take the bait. I've answered you clearly. I'm not going to argue about it. Fourth, hold the line and rebuild your inner compass. This is where most men fold. The guilt you feel doesn't always mean you were wrong. A lot of the time, it means you're doing something new. If guilt has been steering your choices for years, a clean no will feel strange. That's not failure. That's withdrawal from an old pattern. After the conversation, ask yourself 3 questions. Was I respectful? Was I truthful? Did I protect something that matters? If the answer is yes, let the discomfort pass without chasing relief. And if they keep pushing, end it. I've given you my answer. I'm ending this conversation now. That isn't harsh. It's clear. Think about your own situation for a second. Who uses disappointment like a lever on you? You tell your mother you already have holiday plans. She says, I guess I'll just spend the holiday alone. The old version of you panics, cancels everything, and shows up resentful. The new version says, I know you're disappointed. I'm not free on Thursday. I can come by Saturday and have lunch with you then. She may sigh. She may go cold. You don't argue. You repeat it once, then end the call. The world doesn't end, and you stop teaching her that sadness is a steering wheel. Now, your partner. You ask for one evening to yourself. She says, fine, do whatever you want, in that tone that means the opposite. The old version of you backtracks and spends the whole night reading the emotional weather. The new version refuses the fog. You say, "That doesn't sound fine. If you want something different, tell me directly. I'm still taking tonight for myself, and we can talk tomorrow." She may be irritated. That's okay. Adult relationships need direct communication, not smoke signals. Now, the friend who says you owe him forever. You tell him you can't help him move this weekend. He says, "Funny, because I helped you move 3 years ago." The old version rearranges the whole weekend and stays angry all day. The new version says, "I appreciated that, and I haven't forgotten it. I'm still not available this weekend. I can send you the number of a couple movers." He may be annoyed. Good information. Real friendship isn't a ledger. And when an ex texts, "I can't believe you do this to me," after you set a reasonable boundary, use the same approach. "My boundary stands. I'm not discussing this further." Now, I know what some of you are thinking. What if they get angry? They might. Anger is not proof your boundary is wrong. Sometimes anger is just what control looks like when it stops working. What if I lose the relationship? If a relationship only works when you abandon yourself, you're not protecting intimacy. You're protecting a role. Compliant son, easygoing boyfriend, always available friend. Healthy relationships can survive disappointment. Isn't this selfish? No. Selfish is using your feelings to pressure somebody into obedience. Boundaries are how you tell the truth without hostility. And what if you're overreacting? Check the pattern. Genuine hurt invites conversation. Manipulation punishes disagreement. If you keep leaving these interactions feeling guilty, confused, and cornered, pay attention. Your body usually knows before your mind catches up. Here's the truth. Guilt tripping only works when you treat someone else's disappointment like your wrongdoing, and those are not the same thing. Disappointing someone is not betraying them. This work is hard, especially if guilt has been driving your choices for years, but every clean boundary helps you rebuild trust in yourself. So start small. Write down one guilt line that hooks you every time. Then write one clear response you can use the next time it shows up. If this hit home for you, subscribe so you catch the next one. And if you know a man who needs to hear this, share it with him. You're not becoming cold. You're becoming solid.